Greetings, and today I'll be going through a mystery which has been withheld throughout the franchise of a very popular series known as The Blair Witch, which is set out in 3 films and 1 game: The Blair Witch Project, 2016 Blair Witch, and Blair Witch: The Book of Shadows. There's also the 2018 game which I'll be going through, given that it is considered canon as there are multiple references to the original film. This mystery has been going on for a while, as throughout the franchise, the Blair Witch's appearance has never been mentioned. There have been more promising information in the past decade, however, the correct answer isn't Stern. Which is why throughout this video and maybe a part 2, I will be going through all the evidence in an attempt to find out what this witch actually looks like. I hope you enjoy, and I just want to give credit to the makers of Blair Witch and all the makers of the photos I'll be using throughout this mystery. Dive into the true mystery of the Blair Witch, we first must find where this legend truly came from, as it begins in the late 18th century, in the perspective of a woman named Ellie Kedward. She was a girl who lived in Blair Burkittsville and was accused of witchcraft after apparently have led several children into her house and killed them all. And so, in punishment, she was tied to a tree with rocks on each of her limbs in the middle of the forest. They went to check on her corpse to find it gone, and since then, she had plagued the town with crop failures and people disappearing. This has led to the belief of the Blair Witch, and also links some things with the 1999 film and the 2016 film, as an entity known as the long-limbed monster chases the group inside the house, and it matches the description of Ellie, as the rocks on her limbs had seemed to have broken her bones and stretched them. I'll show a following image, but to warn, this may be a bit disturbing. Legend also holds that a house is placed in the woods, one where the witch lives, and in each piece of work of the Blair Witch franchise, the house has only appeared as the protagonists are at their breaking points. As in the original film, it only appears when they are looking for the third character, Josh, who had disappeared several nights before. Both of them are then knocked to the ground when inside the house. The same happens during the 2016 film, as one of the protagonists who's looking for Heather, one of the protagonists of the 1999 film, goes inside a house hearing her screams, and him and another girl are both knocked to the ground soon after, as the male looks at the witch and the other gets lured to look at the witch. I'm not sure about the Book of Shadows, as I've not watched it, which is why you'll be seeing less evidence coming from that film. In the game, Ellis, the protagonist of the game, is lured into the house, however manages to escape, being the only one to ever exit the house alive. But then he's soon met with Carver, a worker for the witch, and he kills Carver, making him the new worker. This will come as important evidence later, as we try find out whether the witch does have a physical form or not. We'll now be explaining the story of the original 1999 Blair Witch film. It's in the perspective of three teenagers filming students, Heather, her ex, and Josh, who are filming a documentary in Blair, Black Hills Forest. There they visit several landmarks, including a small makeshift graveyard and Coffin Rock, which appears to be a simple rock, however has much more story than what meets the eye, as up to 4 people have been found dead in the Coffin Rock. 3 were adult males who in the original film were described to have been attached together, one man's hands attached to the other man. And Peter, the boy Ellis was trying to find in the game, was found dead there. And who was the one who kills Carver, which means that surely if corpses have been found in Coffin Rock, surely Carver must have been involved, as when the witch kills, the body's never seen again, and Carver is known for killing people quite brutally, as shown in the game, as you can find videotapes of him killing several people. For example, the sheriff and a woodcutter who's thrown into the saw. This comes to show that maybe the witch doesn't have a physical form and instead makes people like Carver do the work for her, which may lead to why there were ritual sites being found. As Josh disappears 3/4 into the film, the other 2 begin to hear screaming in the forest. But if people die upon seeing the witch, how is Josh still alive? Surely if he's been captured, he's been able to see the witch, which is where Carver comes in again, as he's also been known for torture. Upon investigation of the screaming, they find a ritual site where they find a small hole dug into the middle of the forest, and inside is a small rag with a small pool of blood, hair and teeth inside. Only people like Carver collect things off his kills. The witch doesn't do that, as she prefers to mentally torture. So with this piece of evidence, we can now infer that maybe the witch doesn't have a physical form, but instead manipulates other people to do some of the killing. But if she doesn't have a physical form, then what is the long-limbed creature? The problem with this mystery is that for every door I open, more appear, meaning that I must find a way through this loophole of doors, and so I will take a different approach through this by displaying the information in an orderly fashion, and by this I'll begin to find more answers, but despite that I will still have more questions, which is why there'll be a part 2 and possibly a 3. This will be a new series, and if you ever want another film mystery to be solved, just type it into the comments. After quite some time of research and back and forth, I found a set of answers, as during one shot in the first film, you see a bunch of children handprints all over the walls. Could this be the children Ellie Kedwood killed? And if so, does that mean the witch has a physical form? How can a being have both a physical and a non-physical form, as the witch is described to be able to change the time? The witch is also described to be immortal. So how did Ellie Kedwood become the witch? And is the long-limbed creature the witch? Now, after linking each three identities, I've come to a theory. Ellie Kedward possibly couldn't be the witch, as although she killed several children, could it be possible for her to live for so long despite her witchcraft? And as well as that, if the witch has a non-physical form and can change appearance, then why is there a long-limbed creature? Can the witch shapeshift? Is Ellie Kedward the long-limbed creature? There's more questions, but now we've came to a conclusion. Ellie Kedward isn't the witch. She's the long-limbed creature. As one of the owners of the films describes that the long-limbed creature isn't the witch at all. This means that since Ellie Kedward matches the description of the monster, she was never a witch. She was a murderer, but no witch. Could she have been like Carver? Could she have been cursed in a loop of mental torment? Could she have been laid to kill other people? We're not sure yet due to her mysterious past, but for all we know, the witch is something else, and there's only one person who could have seen the witch, and she still lives in Blair. Guys, I'll end the video here due to the amount of information that's been given off. I will use this time to connect all the strings and come up with more answers to tell. The part 2 will come out shortly. I'll see you guys later, and please like and subscribe. Bye.